And so for tonight, we thought we'd bring you some of that kind of celebration, although the band may be somewhat different than most we are used to. This one calls itself the Top Hat Band, though their top hats and tails are about the only formal thing about it. Stuart McLean went to a small town parade to visit with the band. He found that for everyone involved, it was a hats-off occasion.
Niagara on the lake, high noon on a Saturday before Christmas. An invasion begins.
Okay, Tom, take the drum out.
Take the drum out. Hey! Take the drum out. Hey!
Busloads of giddy teenagers are getting ready for the last Santa Claus parade before Christmas. Some of the biggest marching bands in the country have driven here. And boy, are they organized. Even their hats are filed and tagged.
Excuse me.
It looks like these guys have matching red underwear to go under their matching red uniforms. Out on the street, one of the junior bands is trying to straighten out some problems at the last minute. A little 11th hour drilling from the teacher might help. But the parade seems to be forming up according to the book. First, you have your flags. Then you're supposed to put in the guns to protect the flags. Then, of course, the pretty girls to highlight the precision of the drills. A lot of bands and parades like these represent police forces and cadet groups, things like that. The others, the community bands and the high school ones, share that same kind of military background. They practice marching as much as they do their music. This is the story of a different kind of band. Meet the Top Hat Marching Orchestra from Burlington, Ontario. In this parade, they're a little older, a little wiser, and a little lost. The rest of the parade is lined up and raring to go, but these guys are still looking for each other. Of course, they've yet to find their place in line. Now, any self-respecting marching band wants a special place to walk in the parade, somewhere near a big, impressive, eye-catching Christmas float. Where's our band slotted in today's parade? The mushrooms.
Okay.
Not the mushrooms.
We're after St. Michael's and the mushrooms.
St. Michael's
And the mushrooms.
Let's check out the band across the street. No confusion here. Here's a group that knows what they're doing. It's the Burlington Teen Tour Band. They're taking their place in line. Look at these kids. They know exactly where they're going. These kids could march up the cliffs and onto the plains of Abraham without missing a beat. Our band's gonna freeze if they don't get moving soon.
Frozen solid.
Uh-oh.
Where's Joanna? Yes, I have frozen valve. See that? Do you like that? Look at that. Now, how am I going to play? My valves are frozen.
It seems you can loosen frozen valves by pouring alcohol into them. Here come some loose valves now. Everybody else here today seems to understand what marching in a parade's all about. It's serious stuff. Now here's what a marching band is supposed to look like. And this is the Top Hat Marching Orchestra. You wouldn't want to accuse them of being rigid or over-disciplined. Half of them are still fumbling for their music, or wrestling with their instruments. Oh, no, not a camera. These characters never pass up a photo opportunity, no matter how late they are. Poor Bob Webb's trying to get the show on the road. Now the drum major's missing. So the band has to march off without their leader, who's looking for a drink in the back of a stranger's car.
They don't drink the
All bands need someone out in front, someone brassy and solid. The drum major's supposed to be a steadying influence to lead the way. Someone to set an example of correct decorum. After all, this is a Santa Claus parade. Hat Marching Orchestra has one rule: take the music seriously and nothing else. When the crowd joins in, the Top Hat Orchestra starts cooking. And when the crowd turns on to drum major Neil Sinclair turns on to the crowd. Niagara on the Lake hasn't seen an invasion like this since the American Army stumbled over in 1812.
Great fun.
Why are you doing this?
Why am I doing that? I've been doing this since I was that high, I can't say no.
It's a chance. It's a chance to put on a funny suit and be a kid again. Go back down the road a few years.
Ah, the old days.
Live from Pasadena, California, the 81st Annual Tournament of Roses Parade.
The roots of the Top Hat Band go back over 20 years.
From Burlington, Ontario, 120 merry music makers. They're all teenagers. Let's listen to them.
In 1970, the Burlington Teens Tour Band marched in the Rose Bowl Parade. Marching together on network television were the kids who'd one day form the Top Hatters. They just looked older then. When these kids grew up, they walked away from this kind of music. Most of them stopped playing completely. But then after over a decade, one of them wanted to put it all back together. Musical director Bob Webb.
I started calling some of the other guys back up, and you'd meet them in a shopping center, and I'd say, "What are you doing? You play your horn anymore?" "No, it's down the basement. I haven't done it." What a waste. All these guys, we taught them how to play, you know. Eric did a super job teaching them how to play, and nobody's using it anymore. There must be something we can do.
What did people say when you phoned them up and said you wanted to get a band going again?
"Oh, geez, I'm pretty busy. I don't know. I haven't played in a long time. Gee, I don't even know who my horn is." You know, all kinds of excuses.
Among the alumni of 1970, drum major Neil Sinclair was one of those who got the call.
I said, "No, thank you. My prancing days are over." And finally, they convinced me to try one parade, which was a Grey Cup parade in Toronto. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Nobody told me what I was supposed to do. And then the parade took off, and I was out in front of the band, and they started playing a song, and I just started dancing, and it took off from there.
In the old days, these guys were into precision marching. They'd have to practice for hours, kicking their feet out in front of them, toes pointed just so, and they entered competitions where every detail was judged. The band was paced by drummers like 19-year-old John Quinn. Today, he's a government executive and still more or less in step. But the rest of these lawyers, professors, and business people have left marching behind.
We do not march. We don't march. We stagger, we swerve a little, we do not march.
See, we've all been through the marching band syndrome, so we've done it for many, many years. And
Syndrome?
well, of marching in step and having to stop all at the same time and start at the same time and move your arm at the right time and that sort of thing. And who needs it? I'm too old for that sort of thing. I'm too old for this sort of thing, too. But
Oh, would you like a turn? I'm kind of getting tired. Would you like to go march with the band? Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. Yeah, sure, here. I'm fed up with them. Go ahead. Go on.
It's a big moment for a kid when the drum major lets him lead the band. Some concessions to aging. Music has to be held further away to read it, and the glasses are getting thicker and thicker. has compensations, too. When you get the urge for refreshments, you go.
That's you and all your family.
Not only that, the band will wait for you. You've probably been in this position before. You get here early, you're freezing cold, it's always freezing cold, and then when the bands get here, they just march right by you with the drums beating. Or worse, they stop there and stand rigid as if they were on guard duty or something. You ever tried to convince one of these bands to start playing for you?
Neil, what? Way up the street? No, yes, up there, Bob. Way up there? Yes, because we have a 5-minute break. Play here? Play here? Play right here? You guys want to play here? Up there? How much is 5, Bob? Up there, you want to play here? Okay. Hey, here we go.
Bob Webb's finally going to admit this is a Santa Claus parade and play some Christmas music. The band measures success by how happy they can make people. Now look at this man. He hasn't cracked a smile since the beginning of the parade, and maybe for a few years before that. Can the Top Hats meet the challenge? Somehow the band has actually worked their way down to the tail of the parade. They're just in front of Santa. Now sometimes the Top Hat band brings out the devil in people, and Santa doesn't like snowballs. Now, is our band there to stand up for Santa? Nope. They're already in the bar getting warm. And they've got a lot of warming up to do.
Let it snow, let the north wind muster and blow. For as long as we're alone here together, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Singing for our supper.
Time for one tune before supper. Who gets to start it, the clarinet or the trumpet? Looking bad for the trumpet. They're only throwing their dinner rolls tonight. They're on their best behavior. They're even letting the lawyer on the clarinet get his way. With that, the Top Hat Marching Orchestra of Burlington, Ontario calls it a year. They say they'll be back next spring.
Good one, guys, good one.
For the Journal, I'm Stuart McLean in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario.